I welcome you to another edition of my Braba Quento. Na mi jidi se wonhuye. Seni ada me kano no mi din e de coffee set kumsen. Na dwumedie yi eye dwumedie bia ye ne etiti omuhia. Mi che omo du baby e wa brabo mu. Na oma nam oma brabo nsem so etu yemfo. Ye de na ase bebre be ma Max Media, Lady Rita Ministry and Miran Radio. Say abrini na omuso yase. Na also a wo hwe dwumedie yi no say opese wo sponsor ana say also opese wo be kan ye ho na ye boom na ye dwumedie na ye fa. Mentre say obefa management numbers e wo screen ne so na wa frɛ mo obetumi afrɛ ana say obe WhatsApp na enne e wo mabrabo akwantu so no me wo ni petitiu bia me ne ba be bonkomo. This person is no other person than Mr. Harrison Matti. Yene ne ba be twetwe nkomo na ansa na mekɔ ne nkyɛn na yene na twetwe nkomo no mepɛ sɛ yɛbɛkɔ akɔgye enkrato aba na emom no frobi na ka kyerɛ no na ɔno so frobi na ɔka kyerɛ no sɛ mabrabo akwanto stream live ɛwɔ YouTube, Facebook and Instagram. Subscribe na abribia ahwɛ yɛkɔ aba. Welcome back, viewers. Not wasting time, we want to go to Mr. Harrison Matti and have a chat with him. Mr. You're welcome to our meeting.
Charlie, thank you. Welcome to 1115 Restaurant.
Thank you, sir. So we want to know, how did it all start? Who is even Mr. Harrison?
All right, so the starting of the restaurant, or the birth of
starting of your life and everything to the restaurant.
Alright, so I am Harrison Matti. I grew up in Madina. I think I spent about 28 or 9 years of my life in Madina. I am from a family of 6 other siblings, my mom and dad, and I think I came from a humble beginning. That's what I want to say. I went to Saito throughout my life, and then I went to university, and I came back. The hustle of life brought me here to start a restaurant. So that's how it all started.
And then, if you say meaning life was difficult, right? Or
I usually don't like saying life was difficult. I prefer to say it was a challenge, and it was a teacher. Life was a practical teacher, so we had to learn a lot of things by doing. So there are a few things that I'm sure I could share with you that if I say I've ever done, you probably wouldn't believe that I've done them before. So
yeah, so life being a teacher or life being an experience, something, we want you to share with us what you went to learn in that practical aspect of life you're talking about.
Okay, so the business side of my life, I think, started very early when I was a child. So I remember when we were like in class 3, my father would pay us either 5 CDs, not this current 5 CDs, the very old one, before we changed the currency. 5 CDs, not 5,000, 5 CDs, yes, for harvesting flamboyant seeds, if you know what a flamboyant plant is. It was because we had a land somewhere that he wanted to use those seeds to, plant them to protect the land. So that was like the first time my dad introduced us to like doing business. We had 3 boys and I was the youngest among them. So during vacation, we moved from neighborhood to neighborhood looking for these seeds too. So once you get a seed, he has a container. He measures it, and once you have the container full, your 5 CDs is there waiting for you.
That is like a pay.
So that was so it was a reward for doing the things that he wanted us to do. But I think I got interested in doing business at a very young age. I think my very first business was to buy a bicycle and then go into bicycle hiring. Yeah, so that was the very first time, and that actually got me into trouble at some stage in life. So that was when I started.
Can you share with us those struggles you're talking about?
Alright, so you probably would have to buy me lunch when you're done. So I remember in class 5, so I repeated a few classes. I think I repeated class 1 and I had to change school from then. So in class 1, I was in a class where the teacher always got me to polish his shoe. I don't think I liked the idea. I was usually the tallest in my class. I'm the shortest among my two other brothers. So
but you are the tallest in your class.
Tallest in my class. So I think the teacher always picked on me, or whether I don't know whether I was picking on me. So he always got me to polish his shoe, and I didn't like the idea. So I think the third term in that school, was a preparatory school, I was asked to polish the shoe again. I said I wasn't going to do it. I was supposed to go and bring my dad. And like you know, my dad never showed up. My mom came, and you know the love of a mother.
Yeah.
She came and gave it to the teacher, and I was asked to go home. That was third term. So
does it mean the teacher has to bring in the polish and everything?
The teacher has a polish and a brush, so every day
in the school,
yeah. So every day when you close it, I take his shoe and shine before. When he comes in the morning, I have to shine the shoe. And I didn't like the idea, so I was asked to go home. And I think that was where everything changed. So I moved from a preparatory school to a government school. So the government school was an Opani area.
Yeah.
So then I had to. That was when I started the whole bicycle thing. So I bought a bike. I saved and bought a bike. And I would, when it's time for me to close, when I go for morning and it's time for me to go home, I won't go. I'll stay in school till everybody closes before I go. When I'm for afternoon, I'll come to school in the morning because I want to come and hire my bicycle and make some money. So the same thing, back and forth, back and forth. Class 5, I wrote my exam. I didn't do too well, and I was asked to be on probation. I would say that was the turning point.
Just say I repeat you.
I didn't meet probation. But in my father's language, probation and repetition are all the same thing. So I was supposed to go back to class 5, and I said I wasn't going to do that. So I stayed home. When school reopened, I stayed home for 2 weeks. I didn't go. The third week, my father came back. He travels a lot, so he came back, and then he gave me a brand new pencil, sharpener. I remember very well. And we had everything a carpenter needed in those days. We had it at home. So Osisa Bibia Mave said, okay, since you decided not to go to school, I have a carpenter friend in the neighborhood who wouldn't charge me to train you to be a carpenter. So you either go to school or we go so you learn carpentry. So I can confidently say that that was a turning point in my life. So I went back to class 5. The agreement with my dad and I was that I had to sell the bicycle or give it out. So I sold the bicycle and I went back to class 5.
Talking about using the bicycle for business in school, what were you using that money for? Were you just spending it or you were saving it for something? I
don't think I was spending. I was either buying a football that I would hire to other people to play. So for me, it was about making money and doing other things. I was expanding the business even at that age. So that was it. So when the bicycle deal stopped, I still had to find another way to make money. So then I would I don't know if you know what Pongpo is. I go carry concrete. I mean, for my physique, I would say that I was blessed with that. So I could carry everything. So I could do all these things at that very young age. I could either go and weed for people. And those days in Madina, it was difficult to get water. So if someone had a water tank, it was me going to clean a tank and all these. And we had a corn mill also at home. So I was doing that also, milling the corn, managing the corn mill, combining that with school. But I know for sure that the turning point in my educational life or journey came from that probation that I was, and I had to repeat class 5. So that I can confidently say that I was it. And my dad himself doesn't remember that he did that to me, and that was a change that I had to remind him. So that's the early stage part where
and talking about you milling the corn, doing this, doing that, and then education, how were you coping with all that at the same time?
Okay, so the corn milling wasn't really a problem. The corn mill was in our home. Okay. So if I was available, then I was going to mill. And then school was an Opani area. So class 5, I repeated, I could do morning, afternoon. Yes, class 6. When I went to class 6, it was still an Opani area. It was in
So would you say, I don't know repeat it.
No, corn mill no put there. Corn mill didn't come in us before.
Not the corn mill.
The business part.
Everything you were
doing.
Yes,
so I think I was more about the money. I knew I wanted to be in school, but I was also more about the money or more about the business part than I was about school. I mean, I wasn't usually I won't fail my exams, but I'm not I'm not in looking for all A's throughout, but I know I'll pass. Yeah, I mean,
average.
I don't know if that's average. I mean, I know that I'll do well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's up with?
Yeah. So then I moved to GS. So class 6, when I got to class 6, I think I became a session leader. You know those days, session leader. When I got to GSS, I became the boys prefect. So like I said, I wasn't a bad student. I just didn't focus on my book class at then, those early stage before
The
class 5.
business was making
The
you
money,
focus.
the money was yeah. So then that was it. Then I moved to. I had wanted to go to a boys' school. I told my dad I wanted to go to a boys' school, but I am the active type. So my dad saw it very early that if I went to a boys' school, I'll come back a different person. So he asked that I go to West Africa Secondary School. I as stubborn as I was, then I said I wasn't going. So I had a bet with my siblings at home that I wanted to go to Bishop M, and I remember very well. My dad said I was going to go to WAS. I said I wasn't going. So if you know what we call a facial board in the house, so if they build a house, there's a board that covers to prevent insects or animals from birds from going. I made a mark there, a point where water wouldn't touch, that I wasn't going to go to WAS. And it was a bet with my siblings. Lo and behold, we wrote BC. We went to check our names, and when I went to WAS, my name was number 5 on the list. I said, okay, why not go to the school? So I went, and I will say that my entire schooling life, my journey in WAS was the best. It wasn't something I had wanted to do, but I actually enjoyed my days in WAS, and that actually taught me a lot of lessons, and also propelled me to do some of the things that I have found myself doing now.
Right. So after WAS, what happened in WAS? Were you good in WAS, or
I was
a stubborn person?
No. So when I got to WAS, the very first day, I was inducted into the cadets. I remember very well walking from the main gate to the administration block. The cadets officer saw me and said, "You have to join the cadets," and that was a point. I think at that point also, in my big head, I thought being in the cadet, I thought I wanted to be in the army. Wow. So before I left WAS, I knew I wanted to be in the army. And after WAS, I wrote my last paper in WAS on 4th June. I wrote my last paper on 1st June. 1st June was a Friday that year. And I started work with the laundry on 4th June. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, which was the 4th of June, I started working in the laundry.
Now pay Juma.
I'm a pay Juma not to order that. So even after GSS, I became a shoemaker. So before I completed GSS, I was a shoemaker, but I wasn't going round. So in my neighborhood, I had my table, I had my tools that I needed to be a successful cobbler, I should say. So I either go house to house for their shoes, or they bring it in the morning on Sundays. So that aspect came. I knew. Sometimes I wish I had done business in sort of general arts. I feel that would have been, but who knows? This is where I find myself. So afterwards, I worked in a laundry. Then I got enlisted into the army to go, and I went through everything. Went to see a few people, and the day before I go for the whole body checks and everything, I went to see an uncle of mine who said, no, my grades were good, and I should rather go to the university than go join the army, because at that stage he thought that I would be better off if I completed the university. And I had actually bought university forms. So that also became a ball of contention between my dad and I.
Sorry to cut you. Talking about you being a cobbler, don't you think is what the teacher was making you do that make you?
So at the point so there are days where I laugh at myself and said, okay, the teacher was asking you to do it for free, so you weren't even going to do it. But now you're doing it for money. I don't think it was. I saw a business in that. Okay. So those days on Sundays, you don't have cobblers coming around a lot. They usually will come around on Saturdays and get the work done. But in my neighborhood, where almost everybody was a government worker or they all go to work, Saturdays we had a farm. We were all going to the farm. Sundays was when they needed a cobbler, and it was difficult to find one. So when I quickly learned how to do that, I figured out that it was fetching. On Sundays, I remember I also sold a box to another cobbler. I gave him a box to work and pay for it.
Wow.
So, and I was like, if you're in JSS, you know that. So that's how it is. So for me, I think the business thing started very early for me. I just probably didn't have the resources to go into full-time business at an early stage. I also think that it was good I didn't start early, because maybe I wouldn't be doing some of the things I'm doing now.
And you made mention, say, you wished you would have done business instead of doing ads way back in messages.
Okay, so
I want to ask this. What will you tell my viewers? You see, this is my brother Quinto, and they are taking life experiences. So, what would you tell them about the choice of things they do, or the choice of things they choose to do, like their future aspirations and all that?
All right. So when I was choosing courses for secondary school, I don't think I considered being a businessman in future. I was looking at what work I would be doing for somebody else as an employee. It wasn't what I'll be doing myself. So usually when you're choosing a course, you're not looking at what you want to do yourself. Okay, I want to work in this company. What do I need to work in this company? Okay, I want to be a lawyer. What do I need to be a lawyer? What course do I need to read to be a lawyer? So those were the decisions that I took. It wasn't about what I was personally going to do as a business person. So I think that influenced my decision to do general life. I think I did elective maths, history, and economics. Yes, those were my electives. So if it was business, I think I would have done accounting, elective maths, and then economics. Yes, so I think the only thing I was missing in this whole business, me not doing business thing, was the accounting bit.
But did you contact anybody to help you out in selecting your?
No, I don't think I made a decision. I didn't make any decision as to. I didn't contact anyone. I just knew that I wanted to join the army. So before I went to WAS, I knew I wanted to join the army. I remember our last essay as to what you want to be in future. I wrote an essay that said I wanted to be an Air Force officer in the Ghana Armed Force, and it was also because it was an Air Force officer in our neighborhood who I admired a lot. So I thought that joining the army, this was someone I could be like. So these things influenced my decisions in the things that I was doing.
Did you regret?
I don't think I regret any bit of. I don't regret the choices I made. I don't regret any of them. The only part, I think I was the oldest to complete SS in my house. My brothers completed SS like 13, 14. I think when I completed SS I was over 19. I think I was almost hitting 20 when I completed. So the difference was that I think I spent more years schooling than my other siblings did. I think I was the last person to. My kid sister probably finished SS at a very young, also before she turned 16 or so. So that's a difference for me. But if you ask whether I regret anything, I don't. I mean, I can say that for a fact that there are still parts of the life. If you gave me a pin to stitch or work on my own shoe today, I can do it. You get it? So these are lessons that they are handy lessons. I worked in a laundry. I don't think I regret that. I can iron my shirt, and I know that I actually work in a laundry. I actually ran a laundry when I finished uni. That was like the first business I did before I stopped. So when I came back from school, my brother also worked in a laundry. We were working out, we were just going around collecting people's stuff and ironing and washing for them. We didn't have a washing machine. All we had, yes, we washed with our hardcore hands. I remember very well. My first job after uni, after national service, was 450 cedis salary. I remember very well. And the first contract we got for the laundry for a church robe, a choir robe, was 600 cedis. And we did that in 3 days. But I had to work for how many days? 20 plus days. Go to work, pay lorry fare to earn 450. So it wasn't a bad deal. But I mean, these were all part of the experiences. You can't do everything at a time. There's also one thing I haven't mentioned. If you get to the restaurant stage, I'll tell you about that. My mom ran a chop bar, and being a last boy, I was usually the one helping her out. So meka benku. I remember I had a skill of cooking banku, washing the pot, use the same pot to cook ogonte, wash it and then cook akple. I don't know how I did it, but that's probably what led me into running a restaurant business. I believe so much that I picked those cooking skills from my mom. That led me into the restaurant business when I completed university. Because even in university, I used to cook. I mean, when there's a party, a boys party, I'll cook. My roommates, I'll cook. I was doing all that. But what I can say is that the things we do in our early age as kids influence us. They influence us either positively or negatively.
Now, can we say you wanted to go to the university? That was your dad saying go to the military, and then your uncle was like you had a good grade, so let's go back before we come to your business side. Let's go back to that side.
All right. So the army bit was my own idea. I mean, I said I wanted to join the army right from JSS.
Okay.
So when I finished, I bought army forms. I bought university forms. So my dad, I mean, facilitated the process of me getting enlisted, and then for me to go for body checks and all that. It was a day before the body checks, and my uncle, who was a retired military man, said I shouldn't go for the army. It wasn't because he didn't want me to be in the army. It was because I was going to join the army after enlisted, and he felt that my grades were better than I mean, and I could go to the university and still come back and join the army. So that was what he said, and I think I also agreed, because the next day was when I got a call that my admission letters were in. So it was more like you didn't have to go. So then I gave up on it. I never lost the army dream though, because even after university I still applied to the army, but they did not call me. So then I killed the dream.
Yeah, sure. So how was life in the university? And would you say your uncle making you go to the university helped a lot?
Yeah, I think it was good. I mean, I respect the army. I respect everything, but I think I've also come far with running my own business, and I think I could also change lives, touch other people's lives in that way. I mean, I saw myself as, you know, when you are young, you think you're born to be a soldier.
So
yeah.
do you think consulting elders in decision making is the best?
Yeah.
As in your uncle saying do this and you did it, and now
I think it's the best. I mean, I could have gone to the university and come back and also be looking for a job like everybody else, or like most people are doing. And so I don't think that alone was you as an individual knowing what you want to do also matters, because, and also knowing that, I mean, life starts from somewhere. I mean, my first job was 450, like I told you earlier. As I did, my friends were doing jobs that were paying better off, but I mean, this is what I had, and that's what I had to work with. So that was it. During right after nationals, when I got my first job, I got a first contract. So I had to do a research for an NGO somewhere in the north and in the OT region. Then also part of all around the Damba area. So when I came back, I came up with an idea to build an oven. The other honam, the choco smoker. Yes. So if you know that the oven that is used for smoking fish very well, when you are smoking a fish, the smoke hovers within the room. So there was this guy called Morrison. He came up with the Morrison stove and put a short chimney on it. So there was a chimney that was supposed to take the smoke out, but again the chimney was short. So even though the oven had a chimney, when you smoke, the smoke stays within the room. So when I came out from that, we were supposed to do a market research to find out whether people would want to use a Morrison stove or not, and people actually accepted. But when I came back, I realized the chimney could be extended, and then the smoke would actually escape the whole area, because we had then done a research as to how many people were suffering from eye problem because of the smoke. People had smoked fish their whole life, and their eyes were damaged. Some had even gone blind. So I said, like, how do I solve the problem? So that was when I got my first funding. I got money to design a chimney and then do that. So I did that in like about 20 communities with funding from SNV. Did some work for them. Then I got money again to design my own oven, which was supposed to be efficient. So I did that also. But that was where I learned my very first lesson in handling money the hard way. So I was given 10,000 cedis to build an oven, and I had used about just a little over 2,000 for the work. And my plan was to use the rest of the money, buy a land and set up a factory where I'll be producing the ovens for. By the end of the project, when I went back to collect my money, they said I had lost the money because you were supposed to spend all that money on building your prototype, and I didn't know about that. So, and if I had consulted someone who was winner, because the other people on the project, everybody finished their money. I was the only one who finished what I was supposed to do, but I still had money, more than almost 80% of my money left in the account, and the money I don't get them. So that was a very hard lesson for me. I mean, that was like my first time seeing 10,000 after I finished school. They chopped 450. I see 10,000. That was like my 2 years annual salary put together plus some.
And Ukraine scan
shit. So then I picked up and said, okay, you can't know everything here, because if I had engaged someone who had a lot of experience in that field, that's how to deal with NGO money when they give you funding. I'm sure that I would have gotten my money. I would have started something. But again, I don't think I was born to be a stove builder. So when that deal went bad, I had to then now go back to what I had passion in. That's where I found myself doing the food business again, because I'm sure that if I had money for building oven, there was money for you to build ovens, so I would have stayed in building ovens. That I sincerely was on my calling, even though it was a problem I saw that I could provide a solution to. And I did that, but I'm sure that wouldn't have been my calling. Now, if you give me money to build ovens, I'll build. But if you ask me to put my own money into building ovens, I don't think I would do that.
So what did you study? You never mentioned of anything you studied in university.
Alright, so I did development studies, integrated development studies for my first degree in UDS, and then I did local economic development my second degree, and currently I'm studying for my PhD in development studies. So as like I said, I wasn't a bad student. No, I wasn't a bad. I just didn't sit behind my books. So yeah.
So on the note of where you've gotten to, I'd want us to go for a commercial break, and when we come back, we go deep into the business aspect, how everything started. So viewers, this is my brother Akwentu. Na bijidi say jiwe ni ye pa. Seni ayaka no Mr. Harrison Matti ene ne hia ye ne twetwe nkomo. Waka na brabo mu nsem bebra tren. Omaya tia say bibia udi si we nu so anase decision bia opese u taking in life no. Nka ehu be hia say obe contacte anase obe hu openi bia wa famuda na wetumi agye kwan ya wo se wo fa so ebe boa ebia na wankasa wonum ni opese oye ba senka wo hu na ka obenya kitwe bi edi kan wo de no ho na wetumi aye na aye yie wakasa bebre mi mesu anwoma bebre wom migiri se wo so wosu anwoma bebre wom na dwumadie yi no seni aye ka no Max Media ena asoyanse Max Media say anything IT, say a hardware problem and as a software problem, no, just contact them. Omo numbers no, ewo screens no, so opeso ye t-shirt printing, obeye wedding, now here videographer, obeye invitation cards, here designer, BPA, ethical hacking, any san your money na contact Max Media. Ombe show no ma show ye. Omo numbers no, ewo screens no, so Lady Rita Ministry. Lady Rita Ministry so ye Jumeko ba ko bia omoso yanse efi asase ebesi nde na dia me pese me ka kire oni se wo ye sini twani anasa wo ye nwumtuni dia obeya ni se obefre Lady Rita Ministry. They can help groom you to become a superstar. They have a movie out on Facebook. Movie no title no The Overcomer. Mestre se obeko Facebook Lady Rita Ministry, YouTube Lady Rita Ministry. Now akwa na subscribe to channel no so. Subscribe to channel no so. Miran Radio a radio station at Ewo Germany. Now obetumi ahwe wo modern radio Ghana Ewo iTunes so. Almost nam nyame asem so ehye yen kran da nyina enti uye dwuma yeni a wo Ghana na opese Germany for so hu say this is what you are doing in Ghana. You can contact Miran Radio on your kasa wodu dwumedie be momo no ma danedi ache wiase afana nyina ato nyo amanone na oba no obetumi ehun say you have something better obe contact almost omo numbers ewo screens ne so mestre say obe from na wafa na oni o makasa ombe show no ma show ye seni ada meka no mabrabo Akwentu. We have come to encourage and educate others, bringing the love of God to each and everyone. The amateur only say oye ankra anase dwumeko na se eka wakoma se obeso yasia bibia say kwan. You just have to contact our management omo numbers ewo screens ne so for sponsorship. Now what to me abeka dwumako no also I will share on subscribe to your YouTube channel no mestre say obe subscribe ato abribia RBTV edit dwumedie bi beto ho no also obe hu na what to me abeka ho yen sembre kra no ye besa akọ na yakotoa enkomo no so enti mɛhyɛ say enko bebia na oba bɛkyerɛ yɛn sɛnea ɔhyɛ aseɛ a tisi a 11-15 restaurants aba bɛyɛ big and it's still becoming big no ɔbɛkyerɛ yɛn bibia ase na sɛ also pɛ sɛ ɔyɛ saa deɛ no bi anaasɛ also wɔ dwuma bi a wopɛ sɛ wohyɛ aseɛ koraa na wohu kwan a wobɛfa so tena ha ya menkɔ bebia. So, Mr. Harrison, welcome back. 11-15 restaurant. It's going to be bigger. So, 11-15 restaurant. How did it all start?
So, I think I remember telling you about my mom running a chop bar at home and me being the one who was helping. So, I learned a lot of cooking from my mom. So, when I came back from uni, when the laundry business failed, I figured out that okay, why not go into cooking? So I said okay, I'll just do pork and yam. I searched for space like Ghana, Accra. If there's anything that you struggle looking for as a business owner, aside money, there's a space to use. So I went to a few places. I tried and tried. I mean, no one would give you a space. There was once where I was given a space, went to take measurements, took a carpenter. We went to see the owner of the place. He had agreed. Went to buy items, bought first batch. Only for us, we called the next day that Honor made the mom. The landlord said, "Oh my man," I said, "Okay." So I had to give up. So we kept searching. Then I moved to. I got married and I moved from Madina to Lakeside.
Okay.
So there was a day my wife came back and was like, she's seen a space around where we are. So she thinks I could contact the people and talk to them. So I went and told them, oh, Charlie, this space behind your area where your business center, I would want to use it to sell food. Well, I will know, we rather have a cafeteria that we are looking for a restaurant, someone to run a restaurant, and say, if you are interested in that, you could come over. That was when we got the first space. So I went to see them, sign our agreement. I think that was in November. We went to the preparation, everything, and January 26th, 2019, I think we opened our first branch.
Wow, at East level?
At Lakeside Estate, yes.
So opening it, how did it all happen?
Sincerely, again, I would say that I didn't consult anyone. I didn't talk to anybody. So we had a first opening. We planned, we bought items. I mean, things I thought we needed in a restaurant. We did all that. We bought the items. We did the first day opening, and the support was massive. We got friends coming from near and far to help us, to support us. So we did well. Sales wasn't bad. I mean, for a first time business, seeing the amount of money, I think I was happy. I thought we were done. The money was coming. Then the next day we opened and nobody showed up. Like no one came to buy food. Not even a single soul came around to buy food.
Wow.
I remember that day I was the only person who bought food. The following day it was the same. And I mean, if we made a sales of, so our food by then was 18 CDs and 25. If we made sales of 100 CDs a day, I was a happy man. I mean, I could count my day because I had people employed who would work. It was terrible. Like, I mean, it wasn't. But then I realized that if there's anything that could get you going, passion was one. And then you also need to be determined that, yes, I mean, you are sure, even as you make progress for things to change, you should also be confident that whatever efforts you're putting in will pay off. So, yeah, we ran. And then in 2020, we got a chance to open another branch, which is not this one. Another branch at Yoma at Fafraha. So we opened that branch on May 9th. We opened that branch on May 9th. That also didn't turn out well. The deal went bad with the people we rented the space for, so I had to back out exactly after a week. So our investment went like bad. So we had to back everything out. That's how we found ourselves here.
What kept you moving? As in, far, but still tried and made it. What kept you moving?
I mean, one high bike in your quest, you know that, there's one thing I've told everybody, that there's money in Ghana. you only make the money from solving problems that are available. I mean, there are a lot of problems there, but you need to find which one to solve that will get you paid. So the problem of people needing food and needing good food, we know that has always been there. It's still there. There are so many restaurants around, but everybody has taste for what they want. And if you're able to meet that taste, they will want to come after you. So even though things were not going as we had planned, I was sure that by the day, if we were able to set up another branch, it will also pick up. Gradually, it will pick up. So that, I think, kept me moving. So there has been bad days. There are days I think I could have put my money into something else. Those days, they come. And they will always come. I mean, even in the life of the richest one, I'm sure that there are days where you think that you could have done something different. And the money would have been probably more than you thought. So yeah, those days come around, and when they come around, the only thing that keeps you going is that there's going to be a better day. So the bad day, with the same way nights will fall, the sun will also rise again. So that's what keeps me going. And in this field or in this whole business arena, I mean, your friends are your first set of customers. If your friends are buying from you, they encourage others to buy from you, and you also show that whatever you are producing is the best. People want to come back, and that's fine. But you without these things, I can tell you that there are things I've tried and I failed at so many things. Yeah, so this is not. Yeah.
Do you regret some things you've done before, or have you ever regretted? Say,
so I don't know. It's the word regret sounds too negative to me, because I learned at a very young age that no knowledge is foolish. You get it? It might not go the way you want, but there's always a lesson you learn from it. So that's what I think. So if I regret something, it doesn't have to do with business. I would hate someone trying to take advantage of me. That I would regret helping, because in the end I realized you were taking advantage of me. But if it has to do with business, my growth, failing, succeeding, no, I think that there's always a lesson that you learn from everything. So usually I tell people that we tend to look at the negative before we made it, not knowing that it's part of the reason why you're surviving now. Because probably if I had everything at my disposal, I probably wouldn't be here by now. There are a lot of things that I do that are from experience. Like, for example, I go to my kitchen. I'm not a chef, but I know how I want my food to taste like. I know what I want you to put in first, what you should put in last. Yes, you can come up with additions. I don't have a problem with that. But if I taste the food, I know that it tastes the way I want it to taste. So that is a lesson. I mean, those are what I've said. So we have it. We can't be once and I'm a cool school now. Sometimes it's so regret. I don't know. Maybe people have regrets for things they do, but I see it as always being a something that you learn from whatever it is that you think didn't go well. So that's it. There are things that you wish that you would have done better. So like the branch that I had to close now after 5 days. So I opened May 9th, and then we had to move out May 14th. So like 5 days we were moving, and we had done more than 90k and putting things together. And those were the things we moved from that branch to the side. So I still have so the security post you see at the entrance there was not a security post. It was supposed to be a salad joint, a salad bar. At the other branch we shut down. But now it's turned into a security, but that's money locked down, because there's no way I use my money to do that for a security post. You get it? So you wish that things would have gone in a different way, but still, I'm using it as a security post. If I ever decide to use it for something else, yes, I could move it and use it for something else. But these are things that, and you would wish, okay, I could have done the paperwork well. Again, I would say that if that place had gone well, I wouldn't be here. Because this place is like 4 times bigger than where we moved from. So you won't have everything the way you want it, but see the good in whatever happens to you, and that will keep you going. I mean, you see my place, the place is not full. How many people were there since you came in? You get it? It won't come, but the time will come where it will be full, and you need to get another space to add. So it's like that. Because with the area, you always find a reason to be sad. Yeah, if you want a reason to be sad, you always find one. It's like Ghana. If you want to find a reason to leave Ghana. You always find 1,001. But if you want to find a reason to make you believe that you can stay in Ghana and make it, you'll find several of them also. Yeah.
So what do you do aside the restaurant?
Okay, so I have an 8 to 5 job. I work for an NGO. We are into the provision of water in rural areas, so in hard to reach areas, provide clean drinking water for communities. That's what I do. I have projects in Adan, Kumasi, in the OT region, and in the Eastern region. In the Eastern region, we are in Afram Plains. OT, we are in Dambai. Ashanti, we are in some communities in Ashanti, but our Accra projects are largely in Adan.
So how far is it going with the NGO?
So that's also picking up. I mean, NGOs are largely dependent on funding. So COVID came in, a lot of businesses have gone down, so we lost a few funding here and there. I'll tell you something funny. It's not funny though, but it tells you the kind of people we are as Ghanaians. So last year we tried raising funds in Ghana. We did an online fundraiser. We were able to raise just about $150 or $180 to support what we do here in Ghana. So I mean, we are still trying to raise funds to get things going. But this year we are doing 12 more installations for like 12 more communities. So things are going. We are hoping that by the time COVID is gone, people's business will be back, and then they could support us to reach more to other people. And aside that, I mean, I train for DW. I was with a network of community radio stations, so I did some media work, but I train for DW. So once in a while, when I get a gig, I do that. I train for them. And I have a few other things going on here and there.
Are you aiming at conveying all the regions in Ghana, as in your NGO going?
Alright, so our NGO works in a way that you need to have access to like raw water. So we don't drill boreholes, we don't do wells. So if as a community where we are sure that the source of water is consistent. So in most areas you have surface water in the dry season, it dries out and then it comes back. It doesn't work for us. So that's why we find ourselves in areas where, so around the lake area, around Afram Plains, there's a lot of water. Dambai, there's a lot of water. Adan, there's a lot of water. So if there's a need for us to go there, we'll go. If there are other organizations who also think that they want to provide water to communities and they think our technology is something they can work with, then we are available. What we do is we do cost sharing. We pay 50% of the cost. Whoever wants to partner us pays 50% of the cost, so we could make water available to communities. So, I mean, we are open for that. You feel free to give out my number for that. It's something I could easily facilitate. We are in Ghana, Senegal, and Uganda.
Wow. So we want you to use this platform to tell my viewers about the NGO thing, and then you put your contacts out them to them in case they need any help or anything to contact you.
Alright, so you can check us online as Easy Water for Everyone, one word, www.easywaterforeveryone.org. You find us, and we have a contact form you could easily fill, and then you get to reach us. You could also call me on 0200151412, 0200151412. If you want us to bring water to any community, you should be ready to support. I mean, we won't come in and do the work 100%. So you should be ready. The money doesn't have to come from you. The 50% of the money doesn't have to come from you. You could bring several other people together, and then we will bring in the technology. We'll do the training. We'll do the installation. The things that we'll need you to buy will be a poly tank, the metal structure we put a poly tank on, and then the plumbing items. The rest we'll bring that in and set you up. So your money doesn't come to us, it stays with you. If you buy those items, poly tank, metal structure, plumbing materials, you are done. The rest will come and get the installation done for you. We'll come with the technology that you need to do the installation.
Any appeal to make
donations? I mean, I haven't lost hope in Ghana, but I know donations don't really come in like that. So if people are willing to donate, I mean, they could easily give me a call today. You could also go to our website and donate directly. But our office is in East Legon, in Adenta. We'll be relocating to around 3rd Gate, I'm sure in August. Yeah, but then once you go online and find us, you could reach us.
If someone also wants to come to the office, so I wish you would tell them where exactly the office is.
We share boundaries with Mohamed Okuno. So if you know where Mohamed Okuno is, yeah, you find our office there. But our office is not. I mean, you don't need to get to our office to get a deal through. Yeah, but if you want to come there also, I mean, you're welcome. Yeah.
We wish to talk more, but I say Embreno.
Yeah, I
mean. So, briefly, Yankasa about branding. 11:15. How did it all come in mind?
All right. So, you remember when I mentioned that we didn't get a space? We finally got a space in November. Yeah. So November 15. I mean, that's when we finally signed our first deal. It happens to be my birthday as well, so 11:15 is just November 15. Yeah, so basically, yeah, that's why I call it 15.
So, I want you to have your last words to my viewers. Any advice and anybody you would wish to give shout outs
to? Alright, so, advice. I would say that one, let me sell my business first. Yeah, so 11:15 is, we have the biggest space. I mean, when it comes to restaurants around the neighborhood, available for all kinds of events. We have our private spaces for events. To whatever kind of party you have, we will encourage you to visit us and then book a space. I also believe I have the best meal in town that you need to eat before you can say you believe or you don't believe. So that's, and I think we have a good ambience. We have a few events that we do. There's live band on Fridays. We also have painting sessions on Saturdays and on Sundays. We do karaoke on Sundays. So we have 2 branches. You can also reach us on Global if you want to order online and within the neighborhood. So that's fine. Our advice. I don't know what I can advise on. I would say that we will make more money, or you make money by solving problems. If anybody employs you in their business, it's because there's an aspect of the job that either you are trained to do or you have the skills to do, which is why you are given a job. So there's a problem you're in there to fix. The day the world finishes dealing with all its problems, nobody else will have a job. So, and if there's anything that has killed businesses, it is we ourselves, usually the people you employ or the people who work in these businesses. I always say that the Ghanaian or the African is very smart at stealing or not doing what they're expected to do when they are given a job. So if we as Ghanaians will support our own businesses, trust me, we will go far as a country. So if there's anything that I would say is that whether you're doing your own work or working for somebody, do it as though it is yours. And you see, the benefit will never run away from you. You will get it. It will come to you. It's not just going to be in your salary. It will come. And when you do good for people, you don't need to talk much. They will see it. That's all we need here in this country. I think there are a lot of jobs, but we are all looking at the wrong place. Everybody wants a banjuma. Everybody wants a job that's already established, which is, the government can employ all of us. So if you all help startups, what you guys are doing, you're a startup. We are all startups. We're all trying to grow. If you do it well in the next 5 years, you might not be the one holding the microphone. Somebody else will be doing it. You get it? So as knowing that the air, and if you do it well today, then you can grow for other people to do the other parts that you think you don't want to do for the rest of your life. You can only stop it when the business grows. If it doesn't grow, we're not doing the same thing. So the business grows for us to employ someone to be responsible for that. So as Ghanaians, let's support our own businesses and we should be loyal. Yeah, any employer will understand what I'm saying. All right.
So how many people are you working?
I have about 28 employees for the 2 branches. Wow. Yeah, we run 2 branches. The lounge we run separately. So the lounge runs currently only in the evening, but I'm sure when COVID is finally when the lounges run, that will also run 2 or 3 shifts. So this branch runs 24 hours. The Lakeside branch runs from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Yeah.
Greatest achievements?
Like when you said you wanted to come here and see you, I told you I wasn't there yet. I think there's still a lot for me to do. I'm not there yet. If I can't sign a check of whatever amount freely, then I'm not there yet. So yes, I've come far. When I look back, I can say that I've come far because I was earning $450. Now I'm employing other people. So I've come far, but I don't think that's an achievement. because I think there's a lot that we could all do that I could still do. Yeah, that's like the biggest room anybody has, the room for improvement. So it's too early for me to start talking about achievements. You do it. Yeah.
All right. So, Mr. Harrison, that's it. We say, and I said, that's your buy, you know, what so now, when you have one come on. Mijidi say, my chef for no is seeing your mother brace. I also now mean so much seeing your mother bra, made it before me bra. Now, yes, I'm very crown, yet the best see her, a son and brain tea. Now, that for frono, your best back, you know, I bet you chin come on. Now, we will take more. Since there is more room there will be more room for us advices too. So, thank you once again.
Thank you for RBTV. Yeah, I wish you the best. I mean, I think there's a lot that small businesses like us need. So there are a lot of people out there that you could reach out to. And I mean, if you need to use our space for anything, just give me a call. And I mean, I'll make that available to you. All right, all the best. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Mr. Harrison Matti, any akasa bebre. Na me gidi say we sua bibi wo mu senia me so me sua bibi wo mu no. Mama ya tia say you should be determined in anything you do. And as a beginner no bibi biara opesa wo sha se bia no. You should look for a consultant and as a probia we drew ho na on chel kwan a obefa so. My brother akwentu yi no ye botaye ni say ye be reach out to all bibi na how anase amanie bi na wokom wa brabo kwento ni mu na ye ne etitrufo no behia na enam oma brabo akwento nsentem so no you would also learn something from it. And unti na make catch say unsubscribe to your YouTube channel na message say obe subscribe button no na bell bi na won in channel obe sample bell no so ato abribia na RBTV edi bibi beto ho no ubenyabe me da se bebre dwumadie one hour so yan say Max Media. Now Max Media is into video editing, graphic designing, videography and photography, hardware and software installation, and a video game installation. Sanyoma ya mabobo so nyina no say uhia obi amana boawa. Make sure say you contact Max Media. Omo numbers no e wo screens ne so obefa na wa from anas obe WhatsApp omo ommehwew na bibia kosoye dwumeko a eto aso so Lady Rita Ministry. Lady Rita Ministry is a ministry that preaches the gospel in songs and words on social media. And see senior year kano they preach the gospel in songs and words. Lady Rita nyum tuni or the nyum fofra ba ye freno adom kona koshe. It's a nice song. Oma sanse shooting movie bia The Overcomer. And also very inspiring and then educative. Inti make sure say obeko YouTube now akọ search Lady Rita Ministries. Wa subscribe na wetumi ahye bibi biara omode beto ho. Dwumeko so a eto aso Miran Radio. Miran Radio is a gospel radio station at Germany. Now over to me modern radio Ghana iTunes so almost sa na omuka nyame asem efa nyumto any incranshen sem so na uye dwumeko a wo Ghana anase uni Germany but opese o catch Germany for edwuma poti a wo ye wo Ghana ato omuso ba ombetumi a contact wa o friend Miran Radio omo ne obe bon komo na omo aboa e wo saa kwan we so omo so omo number e wo screens ne so mesure say obefa na oni omo akasa yere na ase bebre so be ma 1115 restaurants and there omo so ya say 1115 restaurants restaurants abafufra egusu nyi omo wo East Legon off Ajingano road no so udu Ajinga no Johnson honoma ubisa obia obechero and I say usi wo Ajinga no last stop honoma ubehu omo signboard ebe direct to that place na oyede omo contact so be good screens no so atwa say uhia bibia for order and bibia obe contact omo na tina ofie na yemfa adwane ne mbrɛ se corona bay umpese obepi and I say in sutobre mu umpese obepia just sit at your comfort zone na from na omo di adwane no ebe brɛ na enneso no hana yɛde mabrabɔ akwantuo no bɛsi. Ahyɛfoɔ megye say enne wosua biribi saa na meso mesua biribi. Medin edi Coffee Set Kumsin na dwumadie yi eye mabrabɔ akwantuo. Station yi a w'ani go so yi so yɛ RBTV. Mestre say obe subscribe na wabɔ notification button no atwa abribia yɛde biribi bɛto hɔ no wo nsa bɛka na wenya yaba sɛ yɛba bɛhyɛ wo nkran yaba sɛ yɛne wo ba bɛdi nkɔmmɔ yaba sɛ yɛbɛma w'ani agye na wenya ahotoso me de nase bebrebe ma me creole a omudi mechi ene me bande me chere Evans Perfect and your programs manager Ike Odame. They are doing a very great job. Dafufro ye besan shia. Bye bye.